Tony Mason's aboard an old American touring car.
Ask anyone about old American cars and you can bet your life they'd talk about those finned and chromed monsters of the 50s. Very few people in the UK would mention American pre-war vintage cars. But here, in deepest Hertfordshire, I found a whole shed full of them. And what's more, you can actually hire them. All these gleaming cars are part of the splendidly named Hooters Vintage Car Collection. Some of the rarest American cars from the 1920s and 30s, all lovingly pampered and polished. It's a trip back through time where old and forgotten names such as Hupmobile, Graham and REO rub fenders with Ford, Dodge and Chevrolet. Forget the white Rolls-Royce or the horse and carriage for your wedding. Here you can have something a little different. You can be Al Capone or Bonnie and Clyde for the day. Looking round at this little lot, you can't help wondering what sort of eccentric nutters own them. In fact, David and Sally Brock-Jess seem perfectly normal, but they obviously take the whole thing very seriously. David, how did you get involved in American cars?
4 or 5 years ago, we went to an auction to look at an old English car, which wasn't very good, and this little baby was in the auction. And this is what we came away with, and this was the start of it, really.
And what a collection it is. Here's a 1926 Chevrolet Superior sedan. This is an REO T6, built by Ransom Eli Olds, the man who founded Oldsmobile. Another Chevrolet. This time it's a Chicago mobster-style 1931 Independence sedan. But the star of the collection is an American car you've probably never heard of, the Hupmobile, or Hup for short. The Hupmobile was the creation of Robert C. Hupp, a former Ford and Oldsmobile employee who started building his own cars in Detroit in 1908. His aim was always quality and style, and Hupp made over 1,000 cars in his first year. In 1928, output was at its height, with 65,000 vehicles being produced. But in the 30s, the company fell on hard times. By 1936, they'd stopped production. In total, over 500,000 cars were made, but today, only 500 survive worldwide. There are just 12 Hupmobiles in the UK, and the Brock-Jess have 3 of them. Tell me, which is your favourite among this great collection?
Ah, the turquoise Hupp, of course.
Why is that? Because it was the first
Well, because
one?
I'd never even heard of a Hupmobile until I saw her. And, you know, you want to find out more about them, and it's not easy to. There aren't many around.
They're just lovely, big, stylish cars. When you look at something like this compared with what the English were building at the time in 1925, they're just beautiful.
So, the big moment has now arrived. It's time for me to drive the Hupmobile and see what all the fuss was about. Off we go. It's got a really powerful engine, 4-litre straight 8. I believe the top speed's about 50, but I don't expect to get up there because I'm petrified of forgetting how the brakes work. You've got to remember the brake is not in the middle like it is on any other car. It's on the right-hand side. So where the brake would normally be, there's an accelerator, and the brake's where the accelerator should be. And I think I've got that right. We'll soon find out. Now, the gearbox is 3-speed. It's just 3-speed. We're in second at the moment. And we have to double declutch up and down. Nice and smooth gear change there, I hope you noticed. The dials here are fairly basic. The speedometer on the top there and the mileage, of course, and over to the left, oil pressure. And the only other mod con here is the air conditioning. Well, I've had my American education for the day, but I'm an Englishman at heart, so I did a bit more digging around the collection and spotted 1 or 2 things I felt more at home with. Now, I don't know whether you know, but I'm a bit of a fire engine freak, and look what I found, a 1936 Dennis. Should I? Why not? Ha-ha! Just imagine turning up to your wedding in this. You can for about £400. And there's even room for the mother-in-law in the back. Anyway, you can keep your Hupmobiles, Chevrolets and other American devices. My favourite was as British as roast beef and Yorkshire pud. So, the end of another hard day's filming surrounded by lots of lovely cars. It's a tough job, isn't it? But somebody's got to do it. Anyway, I know which one I'm going home in. This marvellous 1938 Lagonda Le Mans. Cheerio!